hello and welcome to the Central Stevens Library here in San Angelo, Texas, in downtown San Angelo, Texas. This is the 2022 Tom Green County Commissioner Precinct 4 Debate Forum. I'm Manny Diaz, alongside the partner in crime, Mr. Yanis Green. And Yanis, it's time to figure out who the pretenders versus the contenders are tonight.
This is the night. This is really their last chance before early voting starts for all 6 of them to be in one place and to really hit a home run, have a knockout performance tonight.
Indeed, indeed. So 6 candidates tonight: Dusty Barton, Coco Simpson, Lori Wilson, Derek Garnett, Sean Nanny, Bill Ford, the incumbent. I remembered all of them.
All of them.
It's an unprecedented type of thing because we have so many in this field. And Yanis, I imagine these guys, they have a lot to talk about. We'll get into some of the things that they shared with us in the Knickerbocker debate. But man, oh man, how much you kind of been looking forward to this, to seeing what these guys are about tonight?
Well, this is really a pivotal night for this campaign. These candidates, some of them joined late, some of them started early, and they've been sort of getting their feet wet in the campaign mode. And really, what could happen tonight? When I think that we need to look for a knockout moment. You need to see somebody, a breakout moment for one of those candidates. Essentially what you've got tonight. Could be the last time that they're all together, and that could lead to, if somebody has a breakout moment tonight, that could lead to a spot in a runoff, and if that person wins that runoff, it could have all started tonight. The next commissioner could stand up and say something to this audience here and to that audience at home that would push them over the edge tonight and to break them out of that field of 6.
Absolutely. Well, we do have a lot to discuss. We are, let's see, scheduled for 6 o'clock tonight, about 5:45, about 15 minutes up until game time. Tip-off, kickoff, whatever we're calling it tonight. But nonetheless, let's get into some of the angles here that these folks discussed in the Knickerbocker debate, which was earlier this month, or Knickerbocker Forum, and it seemed like a lot of good back and forth. Well, it wasn't back and forth. They were just kind of sharing their thoughts on things. But first things first, we'll get to Ms. Coco Simpson and Lori Wilson. Both have some very interesting ideas. Let's roll the tape.
I honestly have 2 first priorities. Number 1 being removing Dr. Veritas as our sole health authority here in Tom Green County. We can have a board of multiple doctors from multiple specialties who can work together and use science, real science, and have conversations about what would be the most effective thing to keep our community safe. And I think it's something that the Commissioner's Court and everybody involved in 20 failed on miserably.
3 main things are revenue, roads, and resources. I want us to grow our revenue creatively. I want us to maintain our roads efficiently, and I want us to maximize our resources effectively. But I will be the new kid on the block, and I do not want to go in there guns blazing, ticking people off, trying to tell somebody how to do their job and what they should be doing better until I know a little bit more about what's going on.
Alrighty. So Coco Simpson, very strong words talking about Dr. Veritas there, pretty much suggesting that she would rather do without him.
That is a strong stance for a county commissioner to make, a county commissioner candidate to make. But again, that's what campaigns are for. The voters have a choice of 6 folks, and that's one of them. And Lori Wilson,
concentrating revenue, roads, resources, not wanting to kind of go in guns a-blazing. She kind of wants to take a feel of the land there.
Well, this first forum in Knickerbocker was a great opportunity for them to all get together and kind of feel out what their position was and where the other folks stand on the issues of the day. And it was good to see all 6 of them there and answering the same questions. That was a good jumping off place, and that brought us to where we are tonight. And I expect to see much more passion and much more detail in tonight's answers.
Absolutely. All right, speaking of the other candidates, Dusty Barton, Sean Nanny, they gave us their thoughts. Let's see what they had to say in the Knickerbocker Forum.
The thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn to the people of the precinct. Go and visit them. I'm also going to be a full-time commissioner. Nothing else to do but to work for the precinct. the constituents of Precinct 4. Find out what they need done. There's projects that are on the tax rolls right now we're working on. I don't have all the facts about them. I just know they've been going on 7, 8 years on one-year projects, things like that.
It all boils down to the mighty dollar. And like Mr. Ford mentioned, I know it being on the school board, you have to, they require more and give you less money. And you have to get real creative. You have to dang near find the loophole in what they're requiring and find a way for that to generate some income. That's it. There's so many things that need to be done, and the only thing I know to do, it's like eating an elephant. You got to do it one bite at a time to conquer it.
All right, so there was Dustin Barton and Sean Nanny kind of sharing their thoughts there in Knickerbocker. Dustin Barton saying he's willing to be a full-time commissioner if elected with all this.
Yeah, and I think at some point all of them have committed to being full-time county commissioners, and that may have been a sign of maybe a frustration with not being able to be in communication as much as they would like to with the incumbent, but that is more of a communication issue. But that's they've certainly mentioned that throughout the campaign.
Yeah. And Sean Nanny, of course, you know, he's the current school board president there at Cristobal ISD, the south end of Tom Green County. He stressed, you know, kind of being resourceful, you know, being creative with things in order to kind of get things done. How much does that bode well for him heading into this election?
Well, I think that's a good analogy to make. There is a vast difference between serving on the school board and serving on the commissioner's court. Statutorily, they're just not the same animal. But he does have a good point in that you have to be creative with the finances to be able to pay for stuff. With keeping the property tax rate low, you've got this amount of money and a much larger amount of requests for spending. So figuring out ways to be very frugal is what commissioners do.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty, so we have 2 more candidates left, Derek Garnett and the incumbent Bill Ford. You know, these guys seem to be from one edge of the spectrum to the other when you kind of really break them down. And as we'll kind of get into this, both kind of really kind of weighing in on how this county is moving forward with police enforcement, law enforcement, and things like that. Let's get to the third angle.
I'd like to spend time on where the money is going, what it's doing. It seems like, I believe that we've got 80% of the budget, about $50 million is my understanding. 80% of it is going towards salaries. To me, that seems excessive. But I want to be clear with that. I think there's got to be some fat on that bone that can be trimmed, but that has nothing to do with law enforcement. Completely support what those guys do, and so that includes the jail as well.
We can't even man the jail we have with enough jailers, and that's an expensive deal. We talked about $40,000. That's not enough, and we have to. My priority is going to be to find a way to find the funding to get some of these. You call them priorities. Well, these things are just the way it is, and we have to fix some of the things it is. You can talk to our county treasurer, and you can see that some of the things that we can't control are these unfunded mandates. We've got a indigent care situation that's overwhelming.
All right, you know, I think aside from Coco Simpson, the comment made by Derek Garnett, $50 million going towards salaries seems excessive. There's got to be some fat on the bone to be trimmed. Nothing to do with law enforcement.
Right.
Your thoughts on that?
I have been covering commissioners' courts on and off for over 30 years, and every commissioners' court has faced the same issue with salaries. Counties just don't have the revenue sources that they need to pay the salaries that they would like to pay, and it's always a struggle. So to say that there's fat in the budget, I don't think that's accurate. I don't think Mr. Garnett has looked at the budget close enough to make that kind of a statement. I can tell you that it is gut-wrenching to go through a budget process and not be able to give a raise to those folks that you know work very, very hard.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
And they're so dedicated.
And of course, Bill Ford, he touched on something very similar with that, you know, that at this point, our current jail, I mean, it's tough getting jailers in here, you know, paying them $40 grand a year. You know, these guys, I mean, they're literally, I mean, they're very much like the guys on the street. They're putting their lives on the line with these guys being in there, or the inmates. He's saying, you know, got to find a way to get funding.
Yep.
When you hear him, what's going through your mind when you hear things like that?
Well, he's exactly right, in that it's very difficult, number one, to find people, because the jailers are law enforcement officers, and you're not just competing with other jails and prisons for those employees. You're competing with sheriff's departments and police departments and the DPS and federal law enforcement agencies for those same guys, and all of those entities across the board pay more than $40,000 a year. So that's always going to be a struggle. That would be the purview of the sheriff to come up with a plan, a pay scale that the commissioners could approve. But salaries will always be an issue.
Good evening,
with county
everyone.
employees and law enforcement.
Yes, indeed.
Well, welcome you all to the candidates debate for Commissioner's Court.
Looks like they're kind of about to get started here. We are at about 5:54, so we're 6 o'clock kickoff, if you will, on all that. So we'll get to that here in the next few moments. But Yanis, I think a few other things to kind of touch on. We talked about earlier, we've been talking about it all this week, breakout moment.
Absolutely.
Who needs a breakout moment tonight?
Looking at this race from a purely political standpoint, I would say that Bill Ford, the incumbent, has an advantage, but he has 5 challengers. So Bill has got to have a moment tonight. The incumbent needs that moment as well. But the other 5 have sort of danced around the issues, and campaigning is a different animal. It's a hard thing to do, to go from not being in politics at all to campaigning for public office.
Right.
So to have a standout moment, to set yourself apart from the field, you're going to have a clear and concise plan for something, for one of the myriad of challenges that face the county. It's going to have to resonate with the audience. It's going to have to hit you personally, either in the pocketbook. It's going to have to be about property tax, or it's going to be about safe neighborhoods, which is the criminal justice end of it, the jail and the punishment phase. Those are the things that commissioners do, so one of these candidates, to stand out from the others, to really make it to a runoff election, to be that second spot on March 1st, they're going to have to do something tonight, and they're going to have to shine and be eloquent, and to reach those people in this audience and that audience at home.
Absolutely. One other thing that we were talking about this week, and production meetings with all this, is how the candidates will interact with each other.
Right.
The personal interaction, because some of them, and we won't name any names, but there is a potential to get a little heated, perhaps maybe get a little hot.
That's right. Thoughts
on that?
Campaigning is a contact sport. and it's rough at times, and you have to set yourself apart, because there's going to be a difference of opinion from across these 6 individuals, and they should be passionate at this point. They should be passionate about what they believe and what they want voters to believe, and so they've got to especially if they disagree on an item, those 2 individuals should take that time to be very specific and to point out, I feel this way, my opponent feels that way.
Yeah. Well, we are about 3, counting Monster Minnows, 4 minutes from kickoff here at the Stephens Central Library, in the sub room of the Stephens Central Library in downtown San Angelo, Texas, the 2022 Tom Green County Commissioner Precinct 4 Showdown. That's what we should just call it, the showdown at the OK Corral here tonight.
Yeah, and from a mechanical perspective, this is again the last forum where all 6 of them will be together that I'm aware of prior to early voting starting on February 14th. Right. and we'll be replaying this. This will be available on San Angelo Live and YouTube, and so the folks out there who can't tune in now and are not in the audience will have an opportunity to see them interact together. But this is, I think, the last time they'll get to do that.
Sounds about right.
Let's
this
knock it out of the park tonight.
This is involving Precinct 4, which Precinct 4 is much of Christoval, Knickerbocker, Dove Creek, but also encompasses a lot of San Angelo. Tell me how much of San Angelo is actually covered in Precinct 4?
Essentially about a quarter of San Angelo. It goes to each of those, each of the 4 precincts, and the majority, 80% of the electorate, 80% of the voters reside inside the city of San Angelo. So it's one thing to do well at home on the home turf at Christoval and Knickerbocker and Dove Creek, but you have got to convince a majority of the voters inside the city limits of San Angelo to vote for you as a county commissioner.
That's why this is so important tonight, to hear these issues with that. And and I think we've talked about it before. These candidates, they could essentially lose Christoval, Knickerbocker, Dove Creek, but if they win here in San Angelo, that's huge.
They could actually walk away with the election. In a field this size, and most of them before they started, they weren't well known. They're not public figures and public personalities. So name recognition is the struggle in any campaign, and they do the same things that all campaigns do, which is you put out yard signs. Hopefully you're walking door to door, knocking on doors and seeing people. I've seen billboards and advertisements on other media. And you do these forums. The forums are free. These don't cost you money.
Exactly.
But getting your name out there, name recognition is the big thing right now, and that's the biggest challenge that all of these candidates have, with the exception of the incumbent, with Bill Ford.
Absolutely. And Bill Ford, he is on his, third term?
It'll be a third term.
Third term, if he is reelected with that. Of course, there's 5 other candidates: Derek Garnett, Dustin Barton, Coco Simpson, Lori Wilson, and Sean Nanny. I think one name that we really know, and we kind of she kind of just gained some steam. It was during the COVID pandemic, was Coco Simpson, and she, I think in terms of her issues aside, I think her name recognition thing that she's been able to brand herself has probably been one of the most impressive ones, in terms of getting her name out there and getting out in the community.
Coco Simpson has used social media very well, and she is working hard. Lori Wilson is also using social media to get her name out there. So that's one of the issues, one of the avenues that they have. And I think Coco will do really well, and I think Lori will be up there along with Sean Nanny in that the top field of challengers. I think that's where we are.
Alrighty, well let's go ahead and get ready to join the coverage. They're in action. Let's go ahead and join the podium there. Let's get ready to join the podium as we get things started tonight. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a number of other things.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and kick off with our program here in just a moment. But first, we're going to have prayer and pledges. My name is Tracy King. I'm with San Angelo Live. Welcome. We're glad to have each and every one of you here this evening. We're going to invite Betty Lacey. She's with the Concho Valley Republican Women, who are our sponsor this evening. She's going to come up and lead our invocation.
Would y'all stand, please? Our Heavenly Father, we bow before you tonight, asking you to be with this Precinct 4 Commissioner's candidate forum. We ask that you be with each candidate and give them the right words to say for the people to hear and why they are qualified to hold this office. Be with everyone that has come tonight and guide them all home safely this evening. We ask all these things in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Beth Urick is going to lead us in our pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. You may be seated. As I said, I'm Tracy King with San Angelo Live, and again, welcome.
I'd like to say thank you to, like I said, our main sponsor, the Concho Valley Republican Women, for hosting this candidate forum this evening. And thank you to the Tom Green County Library for hosting us. This is a perfect venue for this forum. Also, and I'm going to keep my remarks very brief, but I just wanted to say thank you to Walt Koenig. He is the president and CEO of the San Angelo Chamber of Commerce, and he is serving as our moderator. And I'm going to hand it over to him because I know y'all are excited to hear what these candidates have to say. So welcome, Walt.
Well, thank you all very much, and thanks for coming out this evening. As I've always said, the Chamber of Commerce is politically neutral, but we're certainly vested in the process. And one of the best things we do for our community through the Chamber is to make sure that our voters are informed voters, but we also push very hard to get the vote out. And we're going to be doing that through this campaign season, as we always do. It's my honor to be here this evening with 6 wonderful candidates for a very, very important position, Precinct 4, Commissioner's Court, Tom Green County. I would like to briefly go over the rules for this evening's event so that you all will be aware. But let me say right off the top that we're taking questions from the audience in written form on index cards. My lovely wife is assisting this evening. She has cards and pens. So if you all have questions or anticipate having questions, hold up your hand and she'll bring it out to you. The cards, and as they're filled out, also hold them up and she'll collect them and bring them up to the podium where they can be addressed. So just briefly, the rules for this evening. All candidates were seated by random drawing, so what you see here in the order we drew this morning at the Chamber in terms of order. We will be starting with the opening statements in this order. The opening statements will be 3 minutes. They will be timed, and we ask all candidates to please adhere to the time as we've got a lot of ground to cover. Each question will be addressed to all the candidates in rotation, so not everyone will get the first question first, if you know what I mean, so everyone will get a chance at that. And those will be limited to 1-minute responses, and then at the conclusion we'll have a 2-minute conclusion from each of the candidates to sum things up. So that will move things quickly. All the questions from the audience I asked be generally addressable by all candidates, as all questions will be. There won't be individual questions, and there's no crosstalk permitted between the candidates or the audience and the candidates. All questions or comments can be directed through me, the moderator. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to say something, having gone through the rules, that I feel very strongly. Running for office is tough. But I like to say we don't have a democracy if we don't have choices. And these folks sitting before you this evening are giving you some good choices. And it's important that we understand their positions and make informed votes. But I want to give all the candidates before you this evening a big round of applause for participating in the process and offering to serve our community. So let's get started. We're going to start with a 3-minute opening, as I said before, and we're going to go to Coco Simpson first. So Coco, Ms. Simpson, please deliver your 3-minute opening.
Hello. First of all, I'd like to give a huge thank you to the Concho Valley Republican Women and San Angelo Live for hosting this event. It's so great that y'all give us a platform to speak on our ideals and beliefs. My name is Coco Simpson, and I'm your candidate for Precinct 4 Commissioner. I received my bachelor's degree in management in 2002 from the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque, and over about the next decade I worked in retail management. Journeys is one of the companies I worked for first, and I had my own store, but I was also part of a team that traveled the DFW area and opened new stores. So we would go and merchandise the store, we would hire and train new employees, and then we would supervise opening day. And I only tell y'all this because it was such an incredible opportunity to work with people from such different backgrounds and different places in life than I was. I was recruited to Dillard's Management from there, where I spent the next few years, and I had 4 different areas and managed about 50 employees, most of them women, which got a little hairy at times. But we had an incredible team, and we're consistently 2nd or 3rd in the Metroplex in sales, so quite an accomplishment. I hit San Angelo in 2009 and realized that retail management was not where I wanted to be in life, so I went back to school and I got my master's in business from Angelo State. Shortly thereafter, I started doing taxes, and here we are today. I'm going into my 3rd year as a small business owner, and I'm ready to service the community in a different capacity than that. I'm not from here, but I did dive in headfirst to the community once I hit Dove Creek. I served 4 years on the Christoval Elementary PTO board, 2 of them as president. I was co-chair of the bond committee a few years back, and I've been the treasurer out at the Knickerbocker Community Center since 2016. Over the years, I've also helped many nonprofits across the area with their taxes or getting their 501c3 designation. I'm a member of the San Angelo Chamber through my business. I'm a member of the Christoval Chamber personally. And I'm in the 39th class of Leadership San Angelo this year, which has been an incredible opportunity to make network connections throughout the Concho Valley. Pretty much anytime there's a need in our community, I step forward in any way that I can. Being a nomad my whole life, it's such an incredible, it's so beautiful watching the community come together over and over to support their fellow man, and being a part of that is just incredible. Guys, the things we do now are going to affect Tom Green County for years to come, if not decades. I bring a diversity of thought to the court that will challenge the groupthink that has gone on for far too long. Put me to work for you, and let's move Tom Green County into the future.
Thank you very much, Ms. Simpson. If we can continue with the opening statements with Mr. Bill Ford.
I want to thank the Republican women for putting this together. You know, they're the driving force behind the Republican Party out here. So all of us have known that for a long time, and we certainly appreciate it. Promise you from our side. I grew up in San Angelo, and I've educated here in San Angelo, and then I went off to school at University of Texas, and then I came back, and all this has been, over the years, I've done a lot of things. I've had a lot of experience and a lot of participation in public service, from scoutmaster to school board member to on the board of West Texas Boys Ranch. And every one of those experiences got me involved with either in the budget cycles, the finance issues, or construction. And those were I grew up in. I grew up in the construction business in this town, and have been doing it for a long time. And so when I got appointed in 2012 to be a county commissioner, it was an easy move for me because it was construction related, budget related, and I knew the people in San Angelo, having been from here, and a lot of people knew me and my family. My grandfather's family was here before the last century, so we go way back, and it's not anything that I take lightly. Now, and I certainly don't take this job lightly. I'm starting my 10th year, and I think that this is a very serious time that we're entering into. We've got some great things happening with the county. Our courts are as good as I've ever seen anything. We've got a remarkable set of judges and courts, and a lot of things that's evolving over there. And it's sure that will increase what I think will increase the dynamics of safety in our community, where we can get a better control over the flow of crime and law enforcement. And so our judicial is most of our budget. So it's important that we hang on to that experience of fixing the problems that we face on a day-to-day basis that you feel comfortable about. Driving down the street, or whether you're in a store, or whether you're living out in the country. So we're faced with those issues. Budget cycle. We're coming up a budget cycle every year. The county's as strong a budget I've ever seen it. We're in a great shape for facing the challenges that we have, which had to do with an overcrowded jail, and we have a lot of things that we need to deal with there. We've got water to deal with, and water's going to be a big issue coming up, but I think that's going to be something we'll see as a better issue down the road. So I'm looking forward to tonight, and I thank y'all for the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Opening statement from Mr. Derek Garnett.
Hello. Thank you for allowing us to be up here. Thank y'all for coming. My name is Derek Garnett. I'm one of those people that have a lot of thoughts go through my head just constantly. One of those kind of just starts off with hey. Yeah.
You got to give me a warning on that.
That's perfect.
Hey, I'm here now. All right. So my name's Derek Garnett. I'm one of those people that have a lot of thoughts to their head. So I've got to put it on paper if I'm going to try to keep something straight with you guys. So I'm going to reference some of my notes as we go through there. We've got 6 candidates running for county commissioner. That's great. Love the interest. I'm glad that we're all up here doing this. It's a good thing for this county. So I'm a believer in Christ. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a wildlife biologist. I graduated from Stephen F. Austin State University many moons ago. I'm a real estate broker, a small business owner, and a board member of Rush Street Ministries. My family and I have lived in Precinct 4 for about 15 years now, with the last 8 in Knickerbocker. I have strong libertarian and conservative values, and I believe a small, limited government is much better for the people of this county, state, and country than the large behemoth that we have going now. Freedom is constantly under attack, and with a push for security. Have you noticed how freedom and security are always fighting against each other? As one gains ground, the other one loses, and vice versa. Security results in countries like Venezuela and China. I want to be a fighter for freedom. I've decided to run for county commissioner because I believe the county is the last line of defense against the federal and state governments and these unelected bureaucrats that seem to have an unending desire to control all of our lives. I'd like to be a roadblock to further expansion by government. By being a commissioner, I'd have the opportunity to promote a responsible fiscal budget for county activities. I would like to see the ad valorem taxes reduced, and the only way to accomplish that is by reducing the spending of the county or increasing revenue. There are requirements that the county must meet as directed by the state, but how much pushback is there when it causes the budget to increase and in turn the property taxes to rise? I support law enforcement, and with the new facility here, we have obligations to meet. Roads and bridges are essential for commerce and daily function of the people of this county and must be maintained. Tom Green County has a $50 million budget, and I'll admit cutting the budget, mainly due to state law, could be tough, but let's remember where that money comes from.
Thank you very much. We now invite Lori Wilson to give her opening statement.
Thank you, Walt. I appreciate you being here tonight. Concho Valley Republican Women, thank you very much for hosting this. It's been a busy day for you ladies. They hosted at lunch today. George P. Bush and Dawn Buckingham were here, and they've had their hands full with that. You probably haven't stopped today. Thank you also to the library for allowing us to be here. Thank you, San Angelo Live. Y'all are providing such a wonderful platform for everyone. We appreciate you stepping up and doing this for us. But mostly, I thank you for taking the time out of your schedule away from your homes and your families to come tonight and to listen to what we have to say and to be an informed voter and citizen. Thank you so much. I am Lori Wilson. I am a local girl. This is where I was born and raised, right here in Tom Green County. This is where I've lived my life. This is where I have been educated. Central High School. I am a proud alumni of Edison Junior High that doesn't even exist anymore. We have reunions. Anybody from Edison, I can hook you up with that every 2 years. There you go. We get together. I graduated from Central. Got my bachelor's from Angelo State University. This is where I've worked. This is where I have worshiped my whole life. This is where I've raised my children, and now my grandchildren are being raised here. I am so deeply planted and invested in this community. My love for Tom Green County is so deep. I see needs that need to be met, and I am here to offer myself as your servant to help meet those needs. I have spent my life serving this community. As a child, serving in my church, even serving through school. In Texans, we had to do service projects. That's just been part of my life. As a parent, serving as a volunteer in the public schools, serving in every organization my 4 children have been involved in. I just now got the last one out of the house. I've been raising children for 30 years. I've been serving in that capacity for a long time. As a business owner here in the community, I served not only our customers and our employees, but during that time I also served on various boards and committees for local businesses and nonprofits. As a Dove Creek resident, I've served on our board of directors since 2017, and I serve to meet the needs of all of our owners out there. As a member of the Concho Cadre with the Chamber, I help serve new businesses and existing businesses as they're opened in town to promote them and help them increase their traffic and their business. Service is just what I do. My daddy served our country. My grandfather served our country, retired from the Air Force. My husband served the police department for 30 years. My daddy served for 30 years. I'm here to be your servant, to take my level of service to a higher level now that my children are out of the house, and I have the time to commit to you fully, 100%, all the time. I will be there for you, to serve you. Your vote for Lori Wilson will not be wasted. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori Wilson. We'd like to invite now Mr. Sean Nanny to give his opening statement.
My name is Sean Nanny. I'm a proud sixth-generation Texan. I was born in Kerr County, and I grew up on the property that my ancestors settled in 1859. Now, due to a divorce, I spent a lot of time here in the Concho Valley, but I went K through 12 at a little town called Center Point, Texas. Immediately upon graduating, I knew where I wanted to be, and I came to San Angelo and enrolled at ASU. Now, when I left home, my granddaddy told me I was going to go to college, I was going to graduate. He didn't know how I was going to pay for it, but I was going to do it. Well, it took 5 years of juggling work and my studies, but I graduated with a BS in animal science. I spent the next few months trying to find a job, but all my job offers were somewhere else, and that was a problem because I wanted to be here. So I started a horseshoeing business, and that business is currently in its 25th year and going strong. My back's not going strong, but the business is. In 2007, I got my real estate license. In 2009, I became a licensed real estate broker and started Nanny Land Company. In 2010, I was elected to the Christoval ISD Board of Trustees. I'm in my 12th year on that board now, and I am currently the seated president. So I've spent my adult life in a service-oriented fashion. And folks, I think it's time for a change. I've got the education, the experience, the work ethic, and the passion to facilitate that change. And I would appreciate your vote in the primary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And rounding out the opening statements, we'll have Mr. Dustin Barton.
Hello, thank y'all for being here tonight. Concho Valley Republican Women, fantastic day. It's been a long day for sure for y'all, but everything y'all have done, we've been at, and it's been spectacular. San Angelo Live, thank y'all for being here and being part of this. Thank all of y'all for being here. My name is Dustin Barton, and I'm running for County Commissioner of Precinct 4 of Tom Green County. I was born in what's a parking lot now, right a few blocks over, the old Shannon Hospital. I was born by myself. I had two loving parents come along, and they chose me and took me to Knickerbocker, Texas, where I spent and grew up. I then went to school in Christoval, where I graduated from. Now, I did leave San Angelo for a little while. I actually left Precinct 4 for a little while. Went to Tarleton State University. Thought I was going to be a football star. Fat and slow don't make football stars, people. So, immediately got back here, graduated from ASU. I should have started at ASU, but we got it done. I left Precinct 4 once again and moved down to Beaumont, Texas to try to start a career. Started working for the Texas Youth Commission, but it was in Beaumont, Texas. It's not Precinct 4. It's not Tom Green County. It's San Angelo, Christoval, or Knickerbocker. Worked there for 9 months. Got a job back here on December 1st, 1997 for Tom Green County Juvenile Probation. On December 1st this year, I've been there 24 years. You're there for 24 years, you start to learn how the county works. We have 500 employees pretty much at any time. we're staffed for 540. I think I can go up and probably name 200 of those employees by their first name and probably last name. And most of them are the heads of departments because that's who we have to go work with. I can go to our road and bridge, name the majority of them, the road and bridge people in 2 and 4, all 13 of them that have to split the work for that. I can come back and tell you for road and bridge, 2 days ago we had 88 pieces of equipment that dated from 1977. 2 of our pieces of equipment from 1977 and still work. This is my home, and this is where I want to work. It's one of those opportunities that came along, and if you notice, we have this many candidates. Somebody's wanting a change. I was asked to do this about 2 years ago from people that from Christoval and the Knickerbocker area that had some problems. They asked me to do this. I said no. Then I started thinking back, why I've been in Precinct 4 my entire life. It's because it's a place I love, and it's a place I want to help serve. Everything we've done in our life has been in Precinct 4, and we want to keep serving that precinct and hopefully get your vote on March 1st in the Republican primary.
Thank you very much. This concludes the opening statements. I told you we had 6 wonderful candidates. I think they all showed that through their performance so far this evening. So let's give them all a big round of applause for the first round. We're now going to start the Q&A session. We're going to rotate who gets asked the question first. First question will be addressed to Mr. Bill Ford. And the question is, if elected or re-elected, what will be your top 3 priorities?
Well, that's an easy one. My priorities are staying the same. Safety and security is what we're going to reinforce in the community, because if it's not hard to figure out that when our jail is full, there's something causing that to take place. And so we want to have in fact, I've talked to the sheriff several times this week, and their job is watching over all the activities that go on the streets and all that kind of stuff. And they work with San Angelo PD and DPS and et cetera. So they've done a great job. Our court system, we've evolved into we've had to, because we're trying to keep the jail from being full, and so we've encouraged and we've gotten in a public defender's office, and we're going to have a magistrate court, and we're doing that one. And the biggest issue we see down in Christoval we're going to be doing is the water issue, and that we were working on we think we've got the funds to fix the system that needs fixing very, very bad. So those 3 items.
Thank you very much. Mr. Derek Garnett, same question. If elected or re-elected, what will be your top 3 priorities?
So top 3 priorities that I see are really kind of the same as the 3, but budget, budget, and budget. But we'll start with budget. I'd like to really dig in to find out where monies are going and what possibilities exist, what we can trim. I think another priority is figuring out how we can fight the unfunded state mandates that come forth that affect this county. And if we're going to put in number 3, that goes along with that budget, is a way that how we can reduce ad valorem taxes.
Thank you very much. We'll move now to Lori Wilson. It's the same question. If elected or re-elected, what would be your top 3 priorities?
Thank you, Walt. Top 3 priorities for me. Priority number 1 is to represent the constituents of my precinct equally, fairly, to be available to them, and then from extension for the whole entire county. That's the whole purpose of the job to me, is to represent. The decisions that I make will be informed by the people that I am representing. I want to bring back town halls. Probably wouldn't call them that anymore. I might call them, I don't know, community group meetings or something. But I think disseminating information and talking to people is important. Relationships, representing my constituents. Number 2, revenue. I want us to be able to grow our revenue creatively. I've got some ideas about that. Part of it includes grants. Part of it includes economic development. Part of it includes finding ways to stretch those dollars a little bit differently. I have some ideas on that. And then resources is another one of my big priorities, and that includes our facilities, our equipment, and our people. Thank you.
Mr. Sean Nanny, the same question. If elected or reelected, what would be your top 3 priorities?
Number 1 would be to restore the trust between the constituents and the elected official, and that is done by communication. Let them know what the plans are, what the status is of those plans, when a projected completion date might be arrived at. Number 2, I want to let all the county employees know that I'm a team player, and I expect the same from them. We are all wheels in a cog, and we're all going for the same purpose, and I want to get that trust established and that we're all on the same team. And number 3, of course, would be looking for outside revenue. I had a conversation this week with a gentleman from the San Angelo Metropolitan Planning Organization, and our precinct is leaving money laying on the table, and we need to get that money to save tax dollar money. Thank you.
Okay, next we'll have Mr. Dustin Barton. Same question. If elected or reelected, what would be your top 3 priorities?
Again, like I said during our first forum, we would go back. Our first priority will be going to the constituents, find out what they want and need and what we can help them with. Number 2, I've been preaching on this platform for 2 years when we decided that we were going to run for this office, is that we need to do something about our tax rate with our appraisal values going up so high. And now our judge is retiring, and we have people running for county judge that I've heard on several of their platforms. They're also preaching the same thing. So that's something that maybe we can go in and take care of really quickly. And third, being with the county for 24 years, I see some of the employees' struggles. And we need to go back and see if we can help the employees. We're maintaining a good amount of employees, but we're not in some areas. So we need to go back and see where we can maintain these employees, because a lot of the jobs, when you get hired from San Angelo or Tom Green County, you have to have certain amounts of education, certain amounts of training, certain amounts of experience. And when we lose those people, we're losing people that we put money in training, and we want to keep them around.
Thank you very much. And final responder to the first question is Coco Simpson. I'll ask it again. If you're elected or reelected, what will be your top 3 priorities?
Well, first and foremost, I would like to replace our single health authority with a board of physicians so that what happened in 2020 doesn't ever happen again. Physicians from multiple different specialties and multiple employers. The second priority I have is changing the Commissioner's Court date. It's an initiative that I'm passionate about. Citizens don't need to have to choose between going to a city council meeting or a Commissioner's Court meeting. Our county and our city need to bury the hatchet, and they need to work together, and that starts by moving the date so you can attend both meetings. More long-term, I'm really excited about digging into the budget and seeing how we can't fund our Sheriff's Department more. Being a rural resident, I've seen firsthand how our Sheriff's Department is incredible, but they lack the staff to sufficiently police our area. So I'd like to work on figuring out how to divert more money towards the Sheriff's Department from other departments without raising taxes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to our second question, and we're going to start this one with Derek Garnett. What are the current challenges to progress in Precinct 4, and what are your plans to address effective solutions that can be implemented during your time of service?
Would you mind repeating that?
What are the current challenges to progress in Precinct 4, and what are your plans to address effective solutions that can be implemented during your time in office?
Well, I'll admit there's a learning curve in front of 5 of us here. And some of them are steep, some of them are not as steep. So I'm going to have to dig in to figure out what those challenges are, get myself educated on those, and then how to address those. And y'all are going to probably get tired of me saying this, but it's any of the challenges that come forth are going to revolve around what is this budget doing, where's this money going, how can we trim it. And then work for the constituents and really make this budget work for this county and this precinct.
Thank you very much. Same question to Lori Wilson. What are the current challenges to progress in Precinct 4, and what are your plans to address effective solutions that could be implemented during your time in office?
Thank you. Challenges in Precinct 4 are probably not unique to only our precinct, but the biggest two that I see are roads and water. Roads and water. We don't have the budget, the equipment, the personnel to maintain the roads that we already have. It's an ongoing problem, having to share between Precinct 2 and Precinct 4, getting things scheduled, having the funding. We have just the simple things, potholes all the time, sides of roads crumbling all the time. In addition to that, we have new subdivisions being developed. They want the county to take their roads in. We can't take care of what we have. We have new subdivisions being developed that don't have a water source, that want to drain Dove Creek's water source, that want to hit Christoval's water source. Roads and water, it is our biggest detriment to progress.
Thank you very much. This one's to Sean Nanny. Same question. What are the current challenges to progress in Precinct 4, and what are your plans to address effective solutions that can be implemented during your time in office?
I firmly believe the challenges to progress are a lack of work. And to correct that, I will instill my work ethic into it. And it's not going to be easy. There's going to be many roadblocks. Money's always an issue. But there's, like I referred to a while ago, there's so much money that's been left laying on the table that could have been used, like during Snowmageddon. LCRA could have been held responsible for some roads that got tore up, but that never came through. And when that money is utilized, it saves our tax dollars to put it to better use for something else that will benefit us. So to answer your question, my main remedy will be to go to work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Dustin Barton, same question. What are the current challenges to progress in Precinct 4, and what are your plans to address effective solutions that can be implemented during your time in office, sir?
Well, going out and campaigning, and why I was asked to run. Right now, people don't trust part of our county government, and that's why I was asked to run. So my main concern is to get the trust back to the people that live in Precinct 4. On a broader scale, the water issues that we have, and the projects that we have, they've been on the books for 7 or 8 years that were one-year projects. Let's get to them, let's get them done. Let's get them done efficiently and quickly, but let's get them done properly so we're not going back and repairing them in 3 years. But my main thing is I want to get the trust back to the people of Precinct 4 so they'll believe in their government. Instead of them hoping for the best from their government, let's have them expect the best from their county government and not have to be worrying about it or griping about it all the time. People are going to gripe no matter what we do, but we can put our best foot forward and go to work and make them happy that we're their representatives.
Thank you very much. Move now to Coco Simpson, the same question. What are the current challenges to progress in Precinct 4, and what are your plans to address effective solutions that can be implemented during your time in office?
Well, aside from the opposition to progress from a lot of people out in our community, infrastructure, I think, is the biggest problem that we're facing. Currently, the county is sitting on $10 million left of ARPA funds. So it's a perfect opportunity. We have been handed a golden check to make our community what it wants to be right now. So now's the time that our commissioner in our county needs to be working with the city more and figuring out where we want the growth to be that's coming. We know it's coming, let's plan for it. We need to develop a master plan for a bunch of our communities, Christoval, Dove Creek, Knickerbocker, all included, and work with the ARPA funds that we have available to actually develop the infrastructure that's needed to progress. So.
Thank you very much. And rounding out the second question, we'll hear from Mr. Bill Ford. Same question. What are the current challenges to progress in Precinct 4, and what are your plans to address effective solutions that can be implemented during your next time in office?
Well, it's obvious there's some challenges out there, and the biggest one I think is going to be our water issue in the Christoval area, but that doesn't affect so much of the precinct, just Christoval, and that's where the water source is for them. And it's going to be expensive, but we're going to have to draw on some federal funds to help and fix it. And I think we're going to get that. But what we've got to deal with, and the other things we've got to deal with, is we got a new judge coming on, and it's going to be imperative that our budget is his budget. That becomes a judge's budget. And so we got to have the experience that's on the court, that knows how these budgets work and how the cycle works, and how every department, we got 26 elected officials in the county that mostly run departments. And so we have to draw on those people to help us pull that together, and the new judge needs all the help he can get from an experienced court. So I'm looking forward to the challenges, I'm looking forward to the opportunities, and we're going to have to draw on experience, and that's why I think we're going to be in good shape.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to our third question. We're going to rotate, and Lori Wilson will be the first to respond this time. And we're going to go with, what do you see is the county's role for increasing the housing inventory in Tom Green County?
Well, as I look over the duties of what a county commissioner is responsible for, that's not one of them. We would have some oversight. Now, there are some guidelines that are written, and they're renewed every 10 years on subdivisions and how that's supposed to work in the county. So we're not operating blind. We do have a set of rules that we work by for things like that. You do have to, the county does approve the plats when those things are submitted for additional housing. So basically, our role is oversight, making sure that we're following guidelines, whether that be state or federal or environmental. So I believe that would be my answer for that question.
Thank you very much. Sean Nanny, same question. What do you see as the county's role for increasing the housing inventory in Tom Green County?
I don't think the county official has anything to do with increasing the housing. We're in a free market society. Entrepreneurs, builders, construction people, they speculate, they build. We oversee that they put in their roads right to their subdivisions. Out in the county, we make sure they put their septics in right and everything's up to code. Within the city, the municipality governs all of those restrictions, but we don't and shouldn't have a hand in that. Thank you.
Okay, Dustin Barden, same question. What do you see as the county's role in increasing housing inventory in Tom Green County?
Well, I think we've all kind of come up with the same answer on it, but I guess to increase the housing is make sure that, you know, as a county, we try to grow our small businesses and stuff and make jobs available for people to come in and want to increase the availability of houses. Like they're saying, we do have rules and regulations that they'd have to follow. We'd probably need to go and help track with water and things like that, but I think the main idea is making sure that we're small business friendly and things of that nature, so we attract people that the city has to come in and want to build more houses.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Coco Simpson, same question. What do you see as the county's role for increasing the housing inventory in Tom Green County?
Well, much like that last question, I think infrastructure is about where we can lay a hand in that. Also, tax rate. If the taxes are lower, people are going to want to build here. So that's another good way we can affect the housing market. Really, infrastructure and that. Working with the city, I've talked to a couple different engineers, and between the city and the county, there are some weird arbitrary rules about plotting and stuff that the county can help with, but nothing that's going to make a huge impact. But mostly just making this place a great place to be, and showing that, and making people want to build homes here is what we can do.
Thank you very much. Bill Ford, same question. What do you see as the county's role for increasing housing inventory in Tom Green County?
Contrary to the rest, we do have a big role in the construction and building of subdivisions. We adopted a state subdivision rules that require us to make the roads and the subdivisions, the drainage, the water requirements, the septic requirements. The only thing we don't have is a building code to tell them that we have to have an electrical inspector, but we do have to have all those others, and they're really important that we maintain those rules, because of the fact that one day they do come 10 years down the road and they want us to take over a subdivision road, and we may not take it over because they didn't build it right. We make sure their driveways intersect with a county road correctly, with a drainage pipe. We make sure we inspect everything that goes on. We spend a lot of time dealing with subdivision developers who come in with subdivisions and build their subdivisions. So we do have a big play in it, and it affects our taxes and our role in county government.
Thank you very much. And rounding out the third question, we have Mr. Derek Garnett. Same question. What do you see as the county's role for increasing housing inventory in Tom Green County?
So it's certainly an oversight that the county has. It's kind of already been hashed on with subdivision rules, septic, but the county doesn't have the ability to create ordinances for building codes, etc. So through encouragement of builders coming in and creating new subdivisions based off of the rules that are in place is where I see the role that we have in expanding or encouraging the building of these new subdivisions.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to the fourth question. Mr. Sean Nanny will be the first responder on this question. I'm going to go off my pre-prepared list into an audience question. I want to remind everyone that you can submit your questions in writing on index cards to my lovely wife standing here, if you so desire, through the course of this evening. And I'm going to go right off of a question I just received. What current county initiatives can you most quickly jump in as commissioner to add and build a momentum towards completion?
Well,
okay. What current county initiatives can you most quickly jump in as or contribute to as commissioner to add and to build momentum towards completion?
Well, I've had a lot of experience dealing with multi-million-dollar budgets, being on the school board. But when you mention the completion, I think the first thing I would have to jump in on would be the completion of the park down at Christoval that's been dragging on for years, and it's at a stalemate. And we need to get everything figured out. I know there's been setbacks for COVID and everything else, but time's passed. It's due. It's ready to go. With my experience at the school, we've done some projects, construction projects, done a lot of dirt work, building, electrical, water issues. The school owns the water source supply there in the park. So I'm familiar because we've worked hand in hand, we're tried to with the county, the school has, and that would be the first thing I would jump into with my knowledge.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to Dustin Barton. Same question. What current county initiatives can you most quickly jump in and contribute to as commissioner to add and build momentum towards completion?
Well, I do think in Christoval, the parks issue and some of the bridges, the low water crossing issues, but we need to jump in because that's what the people in Christoval area, the precinct, and even Knickerbocker are asking about. They need to be something done about them. When they're sitting around 7 or 8 years, they were planning for one-year projects on the parks. We need to jump in and get it done. Then there's the issue that's going to be a stickler for whoever's in charge of Precinct 4. There's Mineral Wells Crossing. We've been getting, people have been told, well, you shouldn't have moved there. Well, they did. That's their dream. That's where they have their home. And if they're going to be constituents in this county, we need to jump on that and get something done about that so they're not living in fear when we get 2 inches of rain that we all want, but they're scared they're going to be trapped and can't get off their property or get back to their property. And then by the initiative, we go straight back to the constituents and see what they need done.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to Coco Simpson next. Same question. What current county initiatives can you most quickly jump in and contribute to as commissioner to add and build momentum towards completion?
As you can tell from the last three of us, we're awfully frustrated with Pugh Park not being done yet. It's been a long time, and everybody's ready to enjoy that park like we should. Mineral Wells Crossing is the other one that I hear about it every day. So using my managerial skills and my team management skills, I would jump in and work on Pugh Park right away and get that done, figure out what's been done, what's supposed to be done, and get it finished. And then Mineral Wells Crossing, I would use my skills in communication and relationship building and figure out a permanent a permanent exit for the people of Mineral Wells so that we can start working on building a bridge and taking care of that more, more permanently without going through people's property. Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Bill Ford, same question. What current county initiatives can you most quickly jump in and contribute to as commissioner to build momentum towards completion?
I think you're going to find my current a little more pressing than the bridges across the Mineral Wells and the park. We'll build the park. That's going to happen. We haven't spent the grant money. We're just going to be we're waiting to get things done in an economical way instead of paying people more than they deserve to build the projects, the buildings. So that'll be done. We're not behind. We're just got to get it done. But the big issue is water, and our issues with we got to keep our security. Guys, we're not looking over our back here. You're not paying attention to what's going on with our jails are full and what's going on at the border. You can't have 1,800,000 people come across the border and they're not going to affect us. It's going to affect us, and how that happens is something we need to pay attention to, and we got to rely on each other. So we got a great security system in place, but we got to pay attention to what's in front of us instead of what we worry about the small thing.
Thank you very much. We're going to move to Derek Garnett. Same question. What current county initiatives can you most quickly jump in and contribute to as commissioner to add and build momentum towards completion?
Well, I'd like to look at what projects are currently active and what are the hang-ups there. What will it take to push those forward and get those completed in a much more timely fashion than kind of where we've been with things, and just staying on top of the roads that we've got to deal with to keep commerce moving and keep them in good shape. So I think Bill brought up a good point on security. We're certainly getting bombarded by probably a state border that, in my opinion, should be closed, but that's not something that I get to make much of an effort at. Can't wave a wand and make that happen either, but we've certainly got to keep our eye on what it keeps coming our way and just about every other county's way because of the open border that we have.
Okay, thank you very much. Final respondent on question 4 is Lori Wilson. Same question. What current county initiatives can you most quickly jump in and contribute to as commissioner to add and build momentum towards completion?
Thank you. The key is current county initiatives, not things that we might like to be going on, but he's asking us about current county initiatives, which I can answer. I've been to these court meetings since 2017. I've been planning for this since 2017. Current initiatives are all construction related. We have construction going on at the county courthouse. We have construction going on at Goodfellow Air Force Base, and we have construction that's about to be going on at the new Public Defender's Office. Those are all being handled, being maintained fairly well. The one that's not is Pew Park. And that became the glaring reason that we need a full-time commissioner, someone devoted full-time to this, all the time, available to everyone so that things don't slip through the cracks, so that we don't think we've lost the grant money, oh, maybe we'll get the grant money. We need a full-time commissioner, and that is where I will jump in first to help and bring my skill set of bringing the right people together to find solutions to problems and meet those needs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very, very much. We've now gone through our opening and 4 questions. We appreciate the stamina and the attention of all the candidates. I know this is a tough thing to do, and we appreciate you all hanging in with us. As we move to question number 5, Dustin Barton will be the first responder on this one. And the question is as follows. What do you see as the county's role in the economic development of Tom Green County?
Well, it kind of goes back to nearly the housing question. If we go back also to the tax rates, if we're building these great, at a very fast pace because our city's growing, but we're also taxing these people. I've been in a neighborhood where our house went from when we bought it to $109,000 to where it's over $200,000 right now, and our tax increases. When we got them for $1,200 a year, me and my wife thought we were doing great because our house was being more valuable. Now it's going up $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a year. So if we can give you, with the assessments, if we can help take that tax rate down to where we put more money in the constituents' pockets, things like small businesses, we're going to be spending money in those small businesses. So it's just one of those things where, you know, it comes back to tax rate. If we can get that thing cut down, get with the new judge and get it cut down, that's something we can do fairly quickly. And, you know, without hurting our social services or emergency services, then that'll help our county out a whole bunch.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to Coco Simpson now with the same question. What do you see as the county's role in the economic development of Tom Green County?
The work being done by Michael Looney and Mike Berry at the Economic Development Corporation is incredible. They have some amazing foresight into what they want Tom Green County to be, and they're working really hard to bring some great businesses here, some great industry, to really expand our economic base to where it's not one-sided, where if we have an oil boom, the whole town dies. Along with the excitement that they're bringing, we have to once again focus on infrastructure and a big plan, because with all of these businesses, they need employees. We sit at a 4% unemployment rate in San Angelo, so you bring a whole lot of businesses here, there's nobody to work. Y'all can see by all of the help wanted signs out in the community all over the place. So along with economic development, we need to work on getting more people here and making San Angelo and Tom Green County an amazing place to be that we all know it is. There's a whole lot more that goes into that: infrastructure, housing, and a lower tax rate. But the economic development is amazing.
Okay, Mr. Bill Ford, same question. What do you see the county's role is in the economic development of Tom Green County?
You know the answer to that one. We've talked about it enough. There's enough going on in this county to develop what we have, but we need to produce a climate of, you know, where we can do the, like you said, the tax rate. We got a good tax rate. What you don't understand is that when the appraisals go up, the tax rate goes down. We're capped by the state anyway, and so what we do with that tax rate is based on what we're set up with a tax appraisal district, and that's not a county issue. That is, a tax appraisal does that separately. So when we face that, we face a budget that's based on what kind of development, what kind of values that are being sent to us through the appraisal district, and we know what our cap is, so we can't go over that without a recall. So we've got things in real good shape in our county budget. So I think if you took a look at it, you would find that we've got a good solid base, and we've got a good solid future looking at us, and you'll see some rates coming down on tax assessments.
Thank you very much. Mr. Derek Garnett, same question. What do you see as the county's role in the economic development of Tom Green County?
So I would look at it as what would make it attractive for me to move here if I weren't already here, and is cost of living. What is the cost of living? Can you reduce the cost of living to create living in this county, this city, more attractive? With that, what do we have control over? We have some control over the property taxes, and how do we reduce that? We've got to be able to reduce the budget if there's areas that there exist that we can trim. So I think creating more interest of businesses, residents, comes from being able to make it cheaper on them being here.
Thank you very much. We'll go to Lori Wilson now with the same question. What do you see the county's role is in the economic development of Tom Green County?
Thank you. From what I have seen for the last 4 years is that the county's role in economic development is seriously underutilized. It may be more apparent than what I can see, but I think we need to be a more prevalent player at the table. Economic development, primarily, our chamber is carrying that load and does a fantastic job. It's usually the chamber, the Economic Development Board, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, the City of San Angelo that are involved in the economic development because it's in the city, but we forget that the broader aspect, it's all in the county. So I think our county needs to step up and be a more active player in that, and that would include lobbying more in Austin, and I am so excited about that opportunity to do those things for you. I am ready to come to the table and make a difference in economic development as well as all these other areas as your full-time, all the time, all for you, Commissioner. Thank you.
And rounding out question 5, we have Mr. Sean Nanny. Same question. What do you see as the county's role in the economic development of Tom Green County?
Well, tax rates have a lot to do with it. And you know, in all these forums I go to, there's a lot of talk about economic development, and it's imperative that we talk about that. That's the lifeline of our lifeblood of our community. But what nobody ever touches on is, what about the retention of these businesses? How many businesses have y'all seen over the last few years come in, make a big fanfare, grand opening, and then 6 months later they're gone? We need to figure out what we can do to keep those people here and keep them involved in this community, and have local tax dollars, not some corporate from San Francisco or wherever. Let's keep our local people here with their tax dollars in their pockets. Thank you.
We're going to move on to question number 6, and Coco Simpson will be the first to respond to this question. What's your plan to meaningfully engage with your constituency?
Meaningful engagement. I would like to bring back town halls again. I think that we, well, transparency within government, but also engaging with the constituents, meeting them where they are. Do we need to move our commissioners' meetings to the evenings so more people can come? Do we need to have town halls on the weekends so that we can hear from all of our constituents? All of these things are things that we need to talk about as a group of commissioners, as a whole commissioners' court. But there definitely is a disjunct between what happens in the commissioners' court and in the county and what constituents see and can be part of. And those two things need to be a lot more closely aligned. We need to be listening to our constituents a whole lot, and everything needs to be a whole lot more transparent. You can go online and find out anything you want to know about the county, but you have to dig. You have to know what you're looking for, and it needs to be more upfront and apparent. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We'd like to go to Bill Ford. Same question. What is your plan to meaningfully engage with your constituency?
I don't know how to engage me more than I am. I tell you what, my phone rings morning, noon, and night, and I'm out there with them. I don't turn down a phone call. I don't care what time of night it is, what they call. There's something going on, a fire in the park or whatever it is. I get out there. I'm always there. I've always been there, whether it's been a wildfire or whatever it is. And I invite you to come down and see the first baseball game on February the 14th when the Cougars are playing in the new baseball field that's done. I'm getting roads and parking lot finished for the ball fields to be ready. It's beautiful. You can sit out there and watch the whole western sky. It's beautiful. And they've got grass and they've got irrigation. The Little League did it on theirs, and that kept the money that I've got for the grant money to finish the roads, the picnic areas, the water lines, and everything else. Plus, we're drilling water wells to supply the city, the town of Cristobal with backup water. So you think I'm not engaged? You haven't seen the hours I put into it. And everybody, just because y'all don't see me out there knocking on your road, we are fixing the potholes, we are fixing the roads, and the storm did take out 18 miles, and we got to repair that. We've got to finish the road, but we're getting there. And so I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm not done, but I'll be ready.
We're going to move to Derek Garnett. The same question. What is your plan to meaningfully engage with your constituency?
So I think I'd like to reach out to the constituency in some form or fashion and create a survey. What is it that you see as a constituent that would result in a better communication thread between the Commissioner's Court, the Commissioner, and yourselves? Is that through the ability through phone call, which the phone will be there, email, some sort of social media, no fan of, but what is it going to take from them? How do they want to be corresponded with? So just try to figure out what it is they want and try to meet that.
Thank you very much. Lori Wilson, the same question. What is your plan to meaningfully engage with your constituency?
Thank you. To meaningfully engage with my constituency, I intend to keep doing what I'm doing and expand on that. It's all about communication and relationships. Communication is key. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, things I probably don't even know that exist. And all of those things I don't even know how to use yet. But you know what? I'm going to step out of my comfort zone and learn how to do those things, because you have to meet people where they are. That's how some people engage. Our society is different. The people, they do things differently. Now, you can't be good old knocking on the door and face-to-face interaction. But and the town halls, like I mentioned before, I'm going to be so active. Everything I'm doing now, I'm not going to stop once I'm elected. I'm still going to be an active presence in the community, involved in what you're involved in and caring about what you care about.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sean Nanny, same question. What is your plan to meaningfully engage with your constituency?
This is something that we've dealt with on the school board at Christoval for the last dozen years. And the one thing I've learned is if you've got 10 people here, you're going to have 10 different forms of how you need to reach them. Whether it's knocking on their door, calling them on the phone, sending them an email, a text. You know, we put everything out on the internet. The minutes are online, they're posted. We do all these forms of getting information out there, but then I'll have somebody come up and raise Cain with me because they heard such and such. And I say, well, where did you get that information? Well, that's what they were saying at the coffee shop. So guess what? That's where I need to go and communicate with people, because that's where the hot discussions are. But you have to reach individual people by individual means. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And final respondent on question number 6 is Mr. Dustin Barton. The same question. What is your plan to meaningfully engage with your constituency?
Right now, I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing as I've been campaigning for this election. Go door to door, talk to the people as much as I can. I'm giving out my phone number, my personal phone number, as we're doing this campaign. So if people need to get a hold of me, if they have questions, if they have gripes, concerns, or anything like that, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to be in Christoval, we'll be in Knickerbocker, we'll be in Dove Creek, we'll be in those areas. Right now, I'm doing it on a full-time job. God willing, I'm elected, we'll make it a full-time job to work for the constituents. And we're going to do it the same way. Face-to-face, one-on-one. If we have to do it through Facebook, if we have to do it through phones, Nextel alerts. But we're going to be engaged with our community, and I'm going to do it the same way I've been doing since I've said I was going to run. I'm going to the constituent and try to get with them face-to-face first and talk one-on-one with them. Because if not, you're going to have 10 different platforms, like I said. If you talk one-on-one, then we'll know what's going on and what they need to engage about. And I'm going to be there one-on-one with them, and I'll go door to door if I have to. But it's about what the constituents need.
Thank you very much. We're now through 6 questions and an opening, so we'll move on to question number 7. Mr. Bill Ford will be the first responder on this question. And I'm again going to go to the audience. Do you see tourism as important to Tom Green County? And if so, what are your ideas for increasing tourism in Tom Green County?
Sounds like a chamber question to me, but Christoval is a beautiful spot. I mean, it's an attractive place for people to come to the river. That's why we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it right. Now, we did have some COVID issues and some pricing issues, but we're fixing that. We got it's going to be a destination baseball field. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be awesome. And I'm really happy for Christoval to be able to play there, and we're going to be building the softball field soon. So I think we develop things as the public demands it, and we see it happening. You know, there's funds available to do that kind of thing. We started off years ago with when I took this job, there was a grant for a boat ramp, and I didn't even know what it was, how we got it, but we did it, and we got that done. And so it took us 3 tries to get to the rest grants, and then we got them. So we still have the money to do the rest of it. It's a beautiful place. And we're developing the economic development for Christoval as best we can. We thank y'all.
Thank you very much. Mr. Derek Garnett, same question. Do you see tourism as important to Tom Green County? And if so, what are your ideas for increasing tourism?
Tourism for Tom Green County. If you said anything other than yes, you'd kind of be thrown out here. No, absolutely, it's important that tourism for this area. I see San Angelo, Tom Green County, as pretty much an oasis in this dry West Texas desert that we have. So I think that continued development that we've had to continue to draw people to move here, people to come here for corporate meetings, corporate retreats. I think it's very important, and we just need to continue to try to promote what we can to create that interest in coming to this area.
Thank you very much. Lori Wilson, same question. Do you see tourism as an important part of, as important to Tom Green County, and if so, what are your ideas for increasing tourism?
Tourism is hugely important to Tom Green County. We are a #1 tourist destination, whether you knew that or not. Don't know if you saw that we recently have been named the top Western
town in the United States.
There you go, in the United States. We need to capitalize on those things, just like our rodeo. Do you know San Angelo's rodeo? Somebody correct me that knows if I'm wrong. I think we're now #5. We were #6. We are the #5 big rodeo in the country. If somebody's going to the NFR, they are coming through San Angelo to earn that money and get there. We have tremendous, tremendous tourism opportunities that are available right now. So to increase that, you come alongside those that are already existing, work along with them, see what their needs are, how you can help with that, and also provide opportunities for people with new ideas to have a voice and be part of that discussion. But we're a tremendous tourism destination right now.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to Sean Nanny with the same question. Do you see tourism as important to Tom Green County? And if so, what are your ideas for increasing tourism?
It's absolutely important. I mean, look, we got all these lakes. You've got people coming from Midland and Odessa area flooding into this town on the weekends and holidays. To increase it, we need more places for them to stay economically, maybe some RV parks. Maybe there's some entrepreneurs out there that will pay heed to that and cater to them. In Christoval, which is more centralized to our precinct, it's the edge of the hill country. Right out here on the border of the Chihuahuan Desert, there's a little piece of the hill country right there. You got the live oak trees, the hills, the river. And how to increase it? We'll go back to finishing the park. That can generate a lot of revenue for that town. We've got Coopers down there bringing tons of people in. Tourism is big here in Tom Green County.
Thank you much. Mr. Dustin Barton, same question. Do you see tourism as important to Tom Green County? And if so, what are your ideas for increasing tourism?
Yes, tourism is very important. Coming in. Christoval, that area in Precinct 4, Foster Park, those areas, it is the oasis of Tom Green County in Precinct 4. Those are things that were given to us by God. I mean, they're amazing. That river through Christoval, it's odd. During the hottest days of the year, the thing is cold because it's spring fed. It's beautiful. Bringing people in there. With that tourism that was coming in there, we had people coming in. Coopers sets up. Coopers does something every weekend during the spring and summer, way up into the fall. So yes, people are coming here, so we need to get that park open and things like in that idea. So if we get that park open and where they're coming in to go to Coopers and other places like that, Christoval's going to boom. Christoval has little businesses popping up everywhere, and that's only going to benefit areas like Precinct 4 and Tom Green County.
Thank you very much. And rounding out, question number 7, Coco Simpson, same question. Do you see tourism as important to Tom Green County? And if so, what are your ideas for increasing tourism?
Absolutely, tourism is important to our county. Every dollar that we bring in, it goes to pay jobs. It goes to build new houses. It goes to further decrease our tax rate through different initiatives. But some of the things that I would like to do to increase that is, number one, fix the park. We have over 100 rooms for rent in Christoval that are booked out most of the time. So anything we can do to generate more revenue that way will help. Also here in Tom Green County, we are the #4 rodeo, I think, in visual arts capital. So there are some incredible things here in San Angelo to see also. Tourism is incredibly important to our county, and anything I can do to help that will be done.
Thank you very much. We're going to move now to question number 8, and Derek Gardner will be the first responder. We're going to go and talk about budgets. What is your assessment of the current tax rate and current budget, and are there any specific changes or innovations that you would like to encourage?
So, repeat that one more time, please.
Certainly. What is your assessment of the current tax rate and current budget for the county? Are there any specific changes or innovations that you would like to encourage?
Okay, so my assessment of the current tax rate and budget. So I think the tax rate is too high, and I think the budget probably has room to be trimmed. It's going to take some digging to figure out where that can be. It's also going to take some hard work on figuring out with the continued mandates that come down from the state, because we are ruled by state law of what we have to spend money on and what we have to do with that money. And I think that's a fight that needs to be taken up on some of these things, and I'm not sure how much is getting done in that way. I don't know how much one voice is going to be able to do with that, but we got to start with one voice. So I would certainly like to be able to trim that budget and then reduce that tax rate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to move to Lori Wilson. Same question. What is your assessment of the current tax rate and current budget for the county, and are there any specific changes or innovations that you would like to see or you would like to encourage?
My assessment after watching this process for the last 5, I was incorrect earlier when I said 4, it's been 5 years I've been going to these meetings now, is that it's really pretty spot on. There is a worksheet that's used to help come up with all these numbers. It's not just some willy-nilly process. You may not know that your tax rate for the county has actually been going down, decreasing every year since 2019. And is scheduled to go down again this year, barring some type of other changes. We can talk about why your taxes are going up, but it's not because of your tax rate. The budget has over 60 general revenue funds. There's over 100 special revenue funds. It's very detailed, and it's worked on it's not just the county judge's budget, it's the entire county's budget. And every department head comes together and works on that, as are all the commissioners supposed to come together and work on that. It's amazing to me how they get everything done with the funds that we have. The one thing that I would like to know more about is the federal funding that we get coming in. That's not so transparent to those of us that are not members of the court. So I'm excited to learn more about that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sean Nanny, I'll offer you the same question. What's your assessment of the current tax rate and current budget for the county, and are there any specific changes or innovations that you would encourage?
I think I'm like any taxpayer. We all think we're taxed too much. But I'm not going to stand up here and say I'm going to lower taxes. There's a lot of good people putting their heads together over there and crunching numbers to condense it to what it is now. And they're trying to save every cent they can. Now, where I can make the difference, at Christoval, we've done so much with so little for so long that now we feel like we can do practically anything with nothing. We have found every loophole imaginable to increase our state funding. We've tweaked courses, changed up the discipline a little bit, where a kid was being counted as 1. Now we got weighted funding that child is counted up 2 or 3. We generated over $300,000 or more dollars in 1 year off of that, and it was a loophole. I want to find some more things like that for the county.
Thank you very much. Dustin Barton, I'd like to offer you the same question. What's your assessment of the current tax rate and current budget, and are there any specific changes or innovations that you would encourage?
If you actually look at the tax rate per $100, it looks really, really, really nice. But again, we've preached it, keep preaching it. The assessment and property value on our private property has gone up so high. Unless we can do something, I'm never going to be able to tell you, hey, your house ain't actually worth what they're saying it's worth. God bless you if they're saying your house is worth $100,000 more than it is. But it is a thing. We've had tax cuts, yes, 1/8 of a penny, 1/5 of a penny, 1/4 of I don't know what that is. It's very small. You know, it's a substantial tax cut would actually benefit the consumers. Again, our constituents. I'm saying a substantial tax cut, not to where we hurt any of our other things we're trying to fund in the county. But the county is making a lot more money with the appraisal values of our house and with the tax rate staying basically the same. A fifth of a penny, eighth of a penny is not a huge tax cut. And when it comes back in maintenance taxes anyway, is it a tax cut?
Thank you very much. We'll move to Coco Simpson with the same question. What's your assessment of the current tax rate and current budget? And are there any specific changes or innovations that you would encourage?
Well, I think our tax rate's pretty all right as it is. The problem that we're facing right now is assessment values, and that's directly from the state. The county has nothing to do with that. What'd I do? I sound like a geek, but I'm really excited to sit through budget meetings this summer. I've tried reading the budget, and even being the numbers person that I am, it still looks Chinese to me. I know I can ask questions about it, but I'm really excited to sit through all these meetings and listen to the department heads argue why they need this and why they need that. One of the initiatives that I am going to be focused on is as our public defender's office steps in and that grant money takes over, trying to reallocate some of that money to our sheriff's department without raising taxes and boosting our sheriff's department up.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're about 75 minutes into this thing. I think we have time for 2 more questions in our closing statement. So you're in the home stretch all, so we appreciate your continued energy here. I know this is really tough. So at this stage, let's give the candidates one more round of applause because they're doing a great job. Sorry, I missed you. I'm entitled to one mistake. I guess I made it. Okay, yeah.
You know, I feel like a basketball team.
All right, what is your assessment, sir, Mr. Ford, of the current tax rate and current budget, and are there any specific changes or innovations that you would encourage?
I mean, you can tell by my physique I was not a basketball player, but I feel like we're playing 5-on-1 here. But the assessment of our tax rate is good. We're in good shape. It's going to come down. When we get to the point where we're at now, where we're having a sales tax increase, we're required by law to lower our tax rate. Now, what that means is that we're in good shape to have both coming. We're growing economy. We've got an increased budget. We've got an increased number of people moving here, and we've got everything is going up. And so we got to find a way to pay for our salaries that are going up, and we've got a jail that's full that we can't even man the jailers. So the challenges are here, and be ready that we're not ready to raise taxes, but we've got the budget to make it work. So I think I'm telling you guys, I know how this works, and I've spent 10 years doing it, and you need to keep me in here to help me get that judge in place. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I apologize for the oversight. We're going to move to question 9, and it's an important one to the chamber. And we're going to start this one with Lori Wilson. So please describe for us how you would meaningfully collaborate with all county stakeholders, including the city, ISD, ASU, chamber, and others.
I am extremely excited at the opportunity to collaborate with all of these stakeholders. It does include the city. It does include the Chamber of Commerce. It also includes Angelo State University. It includes Goodfellow Air Force Base. It includes San Angelo Independent School District. Who am I forgetting? Someone, I'm sure. The way that I will do this is through meetings. And one of the first things that we need to do when this election is over is sit down and meet with these people. And they need to be regularly scheduled meetings as well, so that we're updating each other, sharing those ideas, making those projects move forward and come together. Each one of those entities brings their own unique set of abilities and skills to the table, so it just simply takes a matter of sitting down and putting your heads together and making it happen.
Thank you very much. Sean Nanny, same question. Describe how you would meaningfully collaborate with all county stakeholders, including city, ISD, ASU, chamber, and others.
Well, I think the most effective way, besides going to a meeting, is some one-on-one time. Go to lunch with various leaders of these different organizations. You get a more intimate conversation. You find out what's really going on, what the county can do to facilitate their goals, and vice versa. And I would be acting as a representative of the Commissioners Court. I could find out what they're needing, come back to my team, and we could all get our heads together to make Tom Green County a better place. That's what we're all in this for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dustin Barton, I'd ask you the same question. Describe how you would meaningfully collaborate with all county stakeholders, including city, ISD, ASU, chamber, and others.
Well, you get elected Tom Green County Commissioner, and then you go out and you introduce yourself to all these people. Brian has brought up all ago that Leadership of San Angelo, it's a great organization. They put all these people together. You get it on a scale like that, you get with people, you go introduce yourself, you find out what the needs from each of them are, you make it personal, you make it group, and you work together. The Leadership of San Angelo, they do tons of different projects, but they're always going to somewhere else so they can get to learn what that business does, what's going on with them, meeting their employees, what they can do for the community, how they help the community. They even they can tell you what you can do for them. You set it up on a scale like that, you work with them, you go and you take them off, you go to lunch, you meet personally, you have meetings with them, you keep those contacts, but let them know who you are, and then you make those contacts to make everything come together to help the community.
Thank you very much. We're going to move to Coco Simpson with the same question. Describe how you would meaningfully collaborate with all county stakeholders, including city, ISD, ASU, chamber, and others.
Well, relationship building is key to this. You have to be personable. You have to be willing to put yourself out there and go talk to people. Through leadership, I've had the opportunity to meet people from all over the Concho Valley in so many different positions. Also, through this race, I have had the opportunity to meet with a ton of different department heads and different elected officials. I was doing it to learn about the county and about how this whole system works. But in the course of learning about the county, I've also developed relationships with all of these people that I've met with. So I feel I could call or email pretty much any of them and get questions answered or collaborate on a project. So relationship building is the best way to collaborate and get things done around the county.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bill Ford, same question. How do you meaningfully collaborate with all county stakeholders, including city, ISD, ASU, chamber, and others?
Well, we're doing it. We're in the middle of it. We're doing it all the time. We've got a team that works with Goodfellow that's building buildings with federal funds. We are constantly in contact. And I spent 3 years on the school board in San Angelo, so I certainly know how that works and who to meet with and go over there. And we deal with issues with we're on boards with, we work with a Chamber of Commerce constantly. We helped facilitate the solar farm down south of San Angelo, which brought a ton of money into San Angelo. So you guys don't think we're doing stuff. We're always in contact and meeting with other departments and other people in the community. And it's not because we think we have to, it's because we want to, and they want us to participate. So it's a collaborative effort all the way around the community. So it's a job's getting done. It really is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And finally, for the question number 9, we have Derek Garnett. Same question. Describe how you would meaningfully collaborate with all county stakeholders, including city, ISD, ASU, and chamber, and others.
As much as I'd like to come up with some kind of oddball answer, I can't say that's really going to be much different than what you've already heard. Making myself available, which would be the easy part of the equation. But further than that, going out and meeting personally with each of these entities, getting to know them, their group that works together, and getting to know the challenges they have, and how can we work on those challenges and work together and create some solutions to get through the challenges that they are having.
Thank you very much. This is our final question of the evening, question number 10. We're going to start with Sean Nanny on this one, and it is as follows. If elected, how much time will you devote to the fulfillment of your duties?
Well, if I'm elected, the county commissioner job will be my #1 priority. Now, the way I look at it, there's 24 hours in a day, and I sleep 6 or 7 of those, so that'd leave about 17 hours. If I devote 8 hours a day to a commissioner job, that'd still leave me about 9 hours to eat, shoe a horse or two, and go check my cows. But there's going to be days where I devote all day to it, and I will be on call at all times. And just like in agriculture, you can't just set your watch by how long a job's going to take. It takes however long it takes. And it takes however long it takes to get the job done. And that's how long I'll spend on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dustin Barton, same question. If elected or re-elected, how much time will you devote to the fulfillment of your duties?
Well, Commissioner's job's 24/7. I have a job that I totally love, working for Tom Green County with juvenile probation. But if elected, that job will come to an end January 1st of 2023, and I would have to be a full-time commissioner. You're a commissioner 24/7 if you're representing those people in Precinct 4. If I ever leave town, go out of town or anything, I'll have somebody covering in the commissioner's office or another commissioner covering for me while I'm gone. So 24/7, 7 days a week will be the time we devote to that job. That's why those phone numbers go out. That's why people can get a hold of me, because we're already dedicating ourselves to this precinct right now.
Thank you very much. Coco Simpson, I'll ask you the same question. If elected or re-elected, how much time will you devote to the fulfillment of your duties?
I'll keep this short and sweet. I will be a full-time commissioner because that's what you deserve.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ford, if re-elected, how much time will you devote to the fulfillment of your duties?
Just what I've been doing, 24/7. My wife can tell you that when that phone rings, I answer it. She says, "Why?" And I goes, "It's a constituent. Somebody's out there wanting something." We've had fires, wildfires that happen in the middle of the night. We can't control that. I've got to get the guys out there. I've got to get the equipment out there. I've got to get the water out there. And we got to get with Texas Forest Service, and we get with the VFDs. We don't slow down. We don't back up and ask, well, I don't have time for that. I've got to be somewhere else. That's not the way it works. We do everything exactly the way I think everybody's on the same page on this, because everybody wants to make a commitment to the county and is willing to put the time into it, so it's not a problem. And I think that's a given that goes with the territory.
Thank you very much. We'll go with Derek Garnett. Same question. If elected or re-elected, how much time will you devote to the completion or the fulfillment of your duties?
Well, if I am elected into office and y'all put me in there, then I'm being told that I need to be in that position for a reason, because what you hear from me and what I believe, you feel like I need to be in that position. And while I have a small business of my own, and it's a very small business, it will go to the back burner. This commissioner's job will go to the front burner, and I will devote the time that is necessary for the commissioner's job.
Thank you very much. Final respondent to the final question, Lori Wilson. Same question. If elected, how much time will you devote to the fulfillment of your duties?
At this stage in my life, there's a lot of things that I could be doing with my time, things that I've looked forward my whole life to doing, working my horses all the time, working our ranch all the time, developing other interests, but I am called to this. And I will say that what I have said from the very beginning last summer when I went public with my intention to run for this office, I am your full-time, all the time commissioner, all the time, all for you. My educational consulting is going to have to go by the wayside. I'm helping Christoval out. Don't tell them I said this yet, but I can't help them. I'm not going to be available for them substituting anymore. This will be my full-time, all the time job, all for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great answers, great session. I think we got to know these folks really well, and we appreciate all the considered answers and the stress that this brings. I know it's difficult. We're going to go into the closing statements in a moment. I want to first of all make a couple of announcements. The Chamber is going to be doing this all over again on the 9th with the county judges at 6 o'clock at the Fort Concho Stables. We encourage everyone to come and see that. And we will do it, this same group again on the 10th. Same venue, Fort Concho Stables, same time, 6 o'clock. I ask you all, if you haven't responded to the Chamber yet with your confirmation or declining of that, please do so. Some of you have not done so yet, so we appreciate that. But it's the 9th and the 10th. 9th county judges, 10th commissioners candidates, Fort Concho Stables. I'll come up with a whole new set of questions for you all, so you don't have to worry about having to repeat yourself. We look forward to seeing you all there. So let's move into the final statements by the candidates, and per the rules, we're going to go in reverse order as we did the opening statements, and we're going to start with Mr. Dustin Barton.
I want to thank everybody for coming out. Thank you for doing a good job emceeing, commentating. Fantastic. Republican women, constituents, people that are also running for office. Thank y'all for giving us the opportunity to voice some of our platforms, beliefs, and opinions on what's going on. I just want you to know that it's hard running for an elected position, and I don't think it matters what elected position it is. This has been stressful on us all. We've had fun with it. We've been mad at each other, you know, but I think we've all been pretty classy with each other. Bill, sorry, it's 5-on-1 again. You're right. Given the opportunity to serve like this, family's been in the service business all our life. My parents were both school teachers for years and years and years. In fact, my father actually retired from teaching and got called back in to teach part-time, and he took it gladly. They were in the service industry pretty much when they took me. I was adopted. I didn't know, I had no family for first 3 days of my life. And they came in, and that's one reason that I wanted to let everybody know I'm very, very, very big on San Angelo becoming a sanctuary city for the unborn, and hopefully we just do it countywide at some point. Being a part of this community has been what I'm about because I keep moving back to it. I never stay away very long, and service this community. My wife's an educator. I met her while she was an educator. So I met her working juvenile probation. My first job was working for the Texas Youth Commission. All I want to do is give back to the community that I'm in and help people out. And that's what I'm going to try to do. I just think being a commissioner, I can take that to a bigger level and be able to help more people out, especially at the place I love, Precinct 4.
Thank you very much. Mr. Nanny, you have your closing statement, please.
I'd also like to thank everybody for being here tonight, taking time out of your evening to come up here and listen to us talk. I just want to speak from the heart and tell you that I'm tired of the status quo. I'm tired of our elected officials not representing us. I'm tired of good, hardworking people being financially drained by every taxing entity wanting more. And frankly, I'm tired of the way our country's headed. And that's why I'm running. I want to make a difference. But I need your vote to help me make that difference. So when you go to that voting booth, I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions. Ask yourself, do I want talk or do I want actions? Do I want excuses or do I want results? And remember that, and I hope you will think of my name, Sean Nanny, in the Republican primary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lori Wilson, you can have your last 2 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you so much for listening tonight. What I would want you to know more than anything is that I am here for you. That is why I am doing this. I have been preparing for this for 5 years. I have been sitting through those meetings. I know what's coming up. I know the projects that are in the works. I know the projects that are coming. I've sat through the budget process. I have gone to the salary grievance hearings. I have gone to the tax rate hearings. I have built relationships with your county department heads already. Most of them I know personally. I am ready for this job. I am ready to serve you. I have an open mind. I am a critical thinker. I have a proven history of being able to bring the right people together to meet needs and solve problems. I want to do that for our county. We have needs that need to be met, and we have problems that need to be solved. And if you will put me to work for you, I promise you from day one, you've got me full-time, all the time, all for you, going to Austin, making those relationships with representatives when it's committee time and before legislation gets brought before both Congresses. We need somebody there speaking on our behalf. This is where our people are at. This is what our needs are. I'll be your voice. I'm here for you, and I'm sincere in my ideas of wanting to have those town hall meetings. We have got to find ways to connect, and we've got to do it differently than what we've been doing it before. Not everybody's available at the same time, and I'm here for you. Call me. I've got information at the table out there. Anything I can do for you. Please vote for Lori Wilson for County Commissioner. Thank you.
Mr. Derek Garnett, closing statement.
Well, thank you all again for the opportunity to share my thoughts and insight to y'all about the County Commissioner race. I ask myself every day, why am I running? And the first response is, I don't care to. I don't care to be up here in front of y'all. This is so far out of my comfort zone. And if you knew me, you would go along with that. But I have come to the point where I believe different outcomes are necessary of our government. I need to be more active in it. Local participation is where it needs to take place. The learning curve in front of 5 of us is high, but it's not a hurdle that we can't overcome. I think it is great that we have so many running, as the current concern against many for our way of life has arisen. Did you know in Texas you never own your house or property? If you think you do and it's been paid off, try not paying your property taxes and watch what happens. While I wouldn't be able to wave a magic wand and make them go away, I'd like to have a larger voice to the state elected officials and have a push to create a consumption tax to replace the property taxes we currently have. We are at a very important time in the life of the Republic of the United States. We are a republic. We are not a democracy. There are significant players within this country and outside of this country that are trying to destroy the very way of life we currently have. Have you heard of the Great Reset that has been underway for years from the Davos crowd and the World Economic Forum? It is not a conspiracy theory, but a conspiracy fact. Please look into it. The current administration is also pushing it through their Build Back Better plan. Why am I bringing this up at this forum? Why does it fit? It will affect every one of us and the way of life we have been afforded by the founders of this country. It has the desire to destroy what so many have worked for. It will take over all aspects of banking and commerce. Once again, the county officials, which include the sheriff, the county judge, the commissioner's court, are the last line of defense for the citizens of Tom Green County. A vote for me is a vote for standing against what is coming our way.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ford, closing statement.
First, I'm privileged to be here. I'm privileged to serve the county. I'm thankful to be a part of this county. It's a wonderful county. I'm born and raised here, and I look at all the faces out there and I see people I know that contribute to that success. And it's going to be successful because of the people that live here and that choose to make it a better county. All these rules that we have to live by, the courts or the sheriff's office, the jail, the taxations, whatever it is. I mean, we can sit there and compare city taxes and school taxes and county taxes, and we're the little guy. But the thing about it is we've got to commit ourselves to our community, to our neighbors, to our fellow man. I mean, and I think everybody's right. Everybody's on the same page. We're not doing this for selfish reasons. I've grown up and done service stuff from Boy Scout leader to board members to church deacon to starting churches to a Rotarian for 15 years. I've done all these things, and I wouldn't change it for the world because it changes the world. We make a difference. You make a difference in everything we do. You commit yourself and you follow through with it, and it happens. Lori's been calling me for 5 years about potholes, about issues, and I answer the phone every time. And I deal with it. We fix it. And it's not a deal. It's not a problem. It's what you commit to when you take the job. So when Mike Brown called me up and my son was in the hospital, my wife's standing there, I said, what are you talking about? What kind of job are you talking about? I had no idea what he was talking about. But I went and met with him, and I said, that's a no-brainer. I'd do that in a heartbeat. And I didn't even know what it paid. I didn't care. I knew there was another opportunity to serve the community and serve Tom Green County. So I'm blessed to be here. Y'all are blessed to be here. So we'll be thankful for all of it. And all that, I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Finally, Coco Simpson, please deliver your closing statement.
Thanks. Once again, thank you to all of the people who made this evening possible and for all of y'all taking your time out to come and listen to us. You guys have a big decision to make. Early voting starts February 14th. I'm going to give you a few things to think about. I have the business acumen and the number sense to make the most of our $55 million budget. I have the people skills to work with other elected officials on getting projects done. I've developed a network of contacts throughout the county and will continue to develop that for support. I bring a diversity of thought to the court that will help us think outside of the box to get things done. I have the motivation to actually get those things done, and I'll be the full-time commissioner that you deserve. CocoSimpson.com is where you can find out more or help us with the campaign. There's also signs and stuff out there. Please take them. I'm a fiscal conservative who will think about Tom Green County and put it first with every decision made. Put me to work for you, and let's do this. Vote for Coco. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Having these candidates done a wonderful job this evening. Let's give them a really big round of applause. I want to say on a personal note, it's my distinct honor to be able to be a part of this process and to be working with these fine folks who, all of them, have the service of our community deep in their heart. We can see that. We have some choices to make, and we saw some differences tonight. My request to you all is to get out into your communities and encourage people to get out and vote. These local elections are absolutely critical to the success and continued success of Tom Green County, San Angelo. I've lived in totalitarian places. It isn't fun. It isn't great. What we have here is a wonderful, wonderful community. And I'm going to close by saying something I say often, and I hope not too often to diminish the meaning. In good times or in times of challenge, there's nowhere else on the planet that I'd rather live than San Angelo, Texas, and Tom Green County. So thank you all for coming tonight. Please remember the Chamber forums on the 9th and the 10th, and drive safely and vote.
I'd like to spend time on where the money is going, what it's doing. It seems like, I believe that we've got 80% of the budget, about $50 million is my understanding. 80% of it is going towards salaries. To me, that seems excessive, but I want to be clear with that. I think there's got to be some fat on that bone that can be trimmed, but that has nothing to do with law enforcement. Completely support what those guys do, and so that includes the jail as well.
We can't even man the jail we have with enough jailers, and that's an expensive deal. You talked about $40,000. That's not enough, and we have to. My priority is going to be to find a way to find the funding to get some of these. You call them priorities. Well, these things are just the way it is, and we have to fix some of the things it is. You can talk to our county treasurer and you see that some of the things that we can't control are these unfunded mandates. We've got an indigent care situation that is overwhelming us. And
Welcome back. This is the end of the 2022 Tom Green County Commissioner Precinct 4 Candidate Forum. Joined by Yanis Green, I'm Manny, the NCO of San Angelo Live. This is proudly presented by the Concho Valley Republican Women. Thank you to them for being our sponsor tonight for that. Nonetheless, we've had a number of things to talk about tonight. We saw each and every candidate voice their opinions, their issues. Yanis, was there something that kind of stuck with you the most?
Well, I think the one thing that stood out is that we have a great field of candidates. They did their homework. They came here. They were ready to answer these questions. I was looking for a knockout punch, and I really didn't see one. There were some highlights from some of the candidates. I think that Bill Ford had the opportunity to articulate that the reason the other 5 people are running that came out slowly tonight is they're worried about Pew Park in Cristoval and how long it's taken to get this grant process taken care of. And Bill stood up and, to his credit, said that the construction at that park is on time and on track. And he invited everyone out to go see a baseball game on the new fields at Cristoval. And that really was the one issue that united all 5 of the challengers. They all said they're going to be good communicators, they're going to be full-time county commissioners. So I would think that there were also bright spots from Coco Simpson and from Sean Nanny and from Lori Wilson. I think that those 3 are up there and could do very well if they have another opportunity, which they will through the chamber that was announced tonight. They have one more forum to polish their answers.
It seemed, another candidate, Derek Garnett, seemed at times kind of just passive, kind of taking certain, that type of passive element there. How well do you think maybe his performance was tonight, certainly up against the incumbent, or a guy like Sean Nanny, who really kind of in my mind, had a really, really good form tonight?
Well, I think that Derek came across as not really knowing why he's in the race, but he did have a platform, and that is the platform of the Tea Party, the far right of the Republican Party. His comments were on more of a national level, that he wanted to take this opportunity to express those feelings on those issues, and that's great. I think it kind of knocked him out of the run for county commissioner.
Yeah.
But this was a good place to air those issues.
Yeah, certainly the time for that. Sean Nanny, let's talk about him. He and we had talked about this before the show started, before the forum started. The fact that he's been in a school board position where he's been able to do some things. Obviously, working with the school board and a county are different elements. But how much of that can you mix in with that? How much did that resonate with you tonight?
Well, I think he was very confident in his answers. I think his answers were a bit generic, but I think on a personal level, he really reached those guys and had those issues in hand. It was a very good performance, and he answered the question succinctly. It was obvious to me that he had rehearsed those answers extremely well. He knew exactly what he was talking about, but it came off as a little stiff. But again, great work by Sean Nanny and the team that's handling him in this race.
Well, with Lori Wilson, Coco Simpson, Lori, she seemed very poised tonight. Same as Coco. How would you kind of rate their forms tonight? Very well, very well. You can tell that Lori has been to the commissioners' meetings and her heart's in the right place. And Coco did an outstanding job as well for the level of experience that she has. I think this campaign has been an eye-opener for her. Her heart's in the right place, and she's working hard. She's really working hard. Now, I think they miss the mark on some of the things that county commissioners are capable of doing, and that will be a rude awakening if one of those people are elected, and what the limitations of being a commissioner are. Yeah, definitely. And last but not least, Bill Ford, the incumbent. You said that maybe he kind of failed to maybe throw out that knockout punch, but he was kind of just relying on some of the things that he's done before. You know, that he's been the guy.
Yeah.
He's been on call.
Yeah.
He knows what to do. Do you think that's enough for moving forward?
Well, I think at this point in the campaign, it's enough to keep him in the upper echelon of candidates. I think you've got maybe 3 that are the front runners right now, and I would say that would be Sean Nanny, Bill Ford, and it's a toss-up between Coco and Lori. Again, there's another forum coming up, and we've got a month before the election, a couple of weeks before early voting starts, so they'll have the opportunity to really, they just need to polish their message and be sure about what the commissioner is capable of doing statutorily, and what the questions kind of lead them into thinking that maybe they are capable of doing.
Well, it's we didn't get the fireworks we expected tonight.
Right.
We were hoping for a few more of those than what we saw. It looks maybe a few of these candidates, they went back to the tape what they were from their last forum, so they tweaked a few things tonight.
Well, it was obviously with Walt Koenig and the Chamber of Commerce involved in the question, in developing the questions. It was economic development heavy, and unfortunately the county government is not in the business of economic development. Whether you're a county judge or a county commissioner, economic development is not what you do.
And we're seeing that in that other race. I'm glad you touched that, the
Yeah.
county judge, because there are a few candidates that are, saying, hey, I've done economic development, I can do this, I can do that, but
what county judges do, what commissioners' courts do, what counties do, 80% of what they do is criminal justice, and that goes from the sheriff's department across the street to the courthouse, the judges and the courts, and probation, and of course the jail. So all of that is run by the county, and that takes up most of the revenue and most of the time. Is what the commissioner's court and the county judge do, is administer law, state law, civil and criminal law at the local level.
It's a very good point. Very good point. All right. Well, Yanis, I think that's that maybe our time is up tonight.
All right.
It's been a lot of fun. We got a chance to listen to 6 different candidates: Bill Ford, Sean Nanny, Dustin Barton, Coco Simpson, Lori Wilson, and Derek Garnett.
Derek Garnett. There we go. Those are the candidates, and they're all on the ballot, and they are all doing, I think, everything they can to earn their votes. And this is not easy. Walt Koenig said that. It's hats off to anybody who throws their hat into the ring and goes through this crucible that is the election process. So hats off to every one of them. They're all doing fantastic.
Alrighty, well that's going to do it for our coverage tonight from the 2022 Tom Green County Commissioner for Precinct Candidate Forum, proudly presented by the Concho Valley Republican Women. For Yanis Green, I'm Manny Diaz. Good night, God bless, we'll see you next time.